Hi students, and welcome to today's lesson. I'm Ms. Albina. Today we'll observe fossils found near the fluorescent fossil beds. Are you ready? Grab your pencil and your science journal and let's get started. If you told someone that this illustration represents what this environment looked like millions of years ago, they would probably say, "No way." But we observed and analyzed fossil evidence, and we know that these two images do show the same region at different times. And remember, not only was the South Central region underwater millions of years ago, but all the rest of North America was underwater too. We've learned that fossils have a lot to teach us about how environments change over time. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's record what we've learned so far on our anchor chart. We'll title our chart Survival, and we'll add what we've learned so far about fossil evidence. How can we summarize what we've learned? We can say fossils provide evidence about the kinds of organisms that once lived and what their environments were like. Some environments looked very different in the past from the way they look now. Your first task today will be to complete the anchor chart. Now that we have learned more about fossils and what they can tell us about past environments, let's head back to our timeline and see where these environments can be placed. Where on our timeline do you think these images best fit? This illustration represents a time in history when the area that makes up North America today was covered by water. Around the time of the earliest fish and the earliest land plants. I'll place it here above those events to show that it illustrates that time period. And the three fossils of underwater organisms that we studied belong in this same period. Now, what about the park photo? That photograph represents the present day. Let's place that on our timeline as well. Take a look again at where the butterfly fossil is. Now that we have placed all of the other images on our timeline, I have some new questions. Do you think the environment in North America changed between the time when it was underwater and when this fossil formed? Do you think the butterfly's environment was more like the underwater era or more like the present day? How can we find out more? Let's explore this fossil further. Now, paleontologists found this fossil at the Fluorescent Fossil Beds National Monument near Florissant, Colorado, which is in the Southwest region. The fluorescent fossil beds are unique because fossils of many kinds of organisms are found there. Imagine that you are a paleontologist and you just found the butterfly fossil. What will you do next? And what more do you want to know about the fossil you found? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't stop there. I would want to keep looking around to see what other fossils I could find nearby. You never know what you'll find when you keep looking. Fossils are fun to find, and with more fossils, I can learn more about the organisms that lived in the same environment where the butterfly lived. That makes me wonder about something. This butterfly lived 34 million years ago, but I wonder, would the environment a butterfly needed to survive back then really be that much different from the environment a butterfly needs today? Let's revisit our anchor model, where we sketched our ideas about butterfly survival today. What do you think? I imagine that butterflies, whether 34 million years ago or now, would need plants for food and water to drink. That gives me some clues about the environment where this butterfly lived. I wonder, what do fossils found near the butterfly fossil reveal about the fluorescent area? Here we have 7 fossils that paleontologists found near the butterfly fossil and that come from the same time period. What can each of these fossils tell us about the environment where our butterfly lived? Let's observe them one at a time to see what we can learn. But where should we start? Hey, I know. It's time to play a game. It's time to play Fossil Wheel. I've assigned each fossil a letter. Whichever fossil the wheel lands on, we'll observe. I'll count down from 3, then you yell spin and I'll spin the wheel. Ready? 3, 2, 1, spin! Round and round our spinner goes. Where it stops is on G. Let's take a closer look. Here's our first fossil that the wheel chose. What do you notice? Do you see this? I don't know about you, but this looks like a fin to me, and I see another one down here. Let's write down fins. And hey, is that a tail? And a mouth and an eye. Let's add them to the list. Finally, look at the whole fossil. Do you see all those bones? Whatever organism formed this fossil, it definitely had a skeleton. So what organism has fins, a tail, a mouth, eyes, and a skeleton? Do you think this might be a fish? That's what I'm thinking. Great work observing fossil G. Let's take another spin. 3, 2, 1, spin. Round and round our spinner goes. Oh, B is next. This is an interesting one. I see 12 parts that have similar shapes, but they're different sizes. I'll write that down. They all seem to be attached to this line down the middle. What does this fossil look like to you? Could the line be a stem? Oh, and maybe those are leaves attached to the stem. This must be a plant of some kind. All right, let's give it another spin. Fossil D is next. What have we here? Do you see this shape? This fossil looks like a spiral. And if you look closely, you can see lines along the spiral. What does this fossil make you think of? It reminds me of a snail's shell. Do you think the organism that formed this fossil was a snail? All right, I like this game. Let's give it a spin. Oh, B. We already did B. All right, let's spin again. E. That's a new fossil. What do you think? I see a long line down the middle and smaller lines branching off. I would say this fossil was most likely formed by a leaf from a tree. All right, here we go. Round and round and round. Fossil A. Oh, cool. Check out this fossil. What do you notice? I notice its body has dark lines on it, and I also see lines under the body that might be legs. Oh, and those look like wings. So what do you think this could be? Some type of flying insect? Sort of reminds me of a wasp. Do you think this might be the fossil of a wasp? Only 2 fossils left. Will it be fossil C or fossil F? Oh, fossil D. Oh, we already did that one. Let's see. Fossil F. What do you notice? Is that a beak and an eye? And I see 2 legs. Well, birds have beaks and long, thin legs. Do you think this might be the fossil of a bird? All right, no need to spin. Only 1 fossil left, and that's fossil C. Our final fossil, what do you notice? Do you see this small circle in the middle? And these long shapes coming out of the circle? What does it remind you of? The long shapes look a little bit like the petals of a flower, don't they? I think a flower formed this fossil. Do you agree? That's it. Those are all of our fossils. Now, we had some initial ideas about what these fossils might be, and we were on the right track with our ideas. Here are more specific names for some of the fossils. If we look at them all together, what can we learn? What do you think the environment was like, where all of the organisms that formed these fossils lived? Some of these organisms, like freshwater fish, live underwater, but others, like ferns and trees, live on land. Can you make a claim about the environment where these organisms lived? I think we have enough evidence to make the claim that the past fluorescent environment had both water and land. One of your tasks will be to draw a model of the environment where these organisms lived. Now, what evidence do we have to support our claim that the past fluorescent environment had water and land? Well, we can go right to the source, the fossil evidence. We saw fossils of freshwater fish, ferns, freshwater snails, trees, wasps, birds, and flowering plants. How does this evidence support our claim? Your final task after this lesson will be to write out your reasoning to support your claim. Tell me why you think this past environment had both water and land. Make sure to use the evidence that we have to support your reasoning. Let's review your tasks for today. First, fill in the blanks to complete the anchor chart. Second, draw a model of the past fluorescent area. Third, provide reasoning for your claim about the past fluorescent area.